Hi, Robin. My name is Anna Wilson from Salesforce Enterprise. I'm so excited to finally get a chance to chat with you today. How's your day going so far?
Hey Anna, it's been going great so far. How about you?
Mine's going really good. Thank you for asking. I actually heard about you through Abby at Amgen, and she spoke so highly of you that I just wanted to see how you knew her and how you guys met.
Yeah, so I met Abby about 2 years ago at a sales convention in Dallas, Texas, and ever since then we've really stayed in touch, which has been super awesome.
Oh, that's so exciting. That's awesome that y'all have stayed in touch. I've actually known her since Abby, so what a small world, but I'm glad that you enjoyed your time working with her. And before I jump into anything, I'd love to get a sense of what's been going well with your current CRM system and where you're looking for improvement. Does it sound good if I just ask you a couple questions before we get started?
Yes, of course. That sounds great.
Awesome. I just want to make sure that I'm respecting your time since I know you're very busy. But just to start off, Abby mentioned that you were interested in how sales and marketing teams could work together on a CRM. Could you tell me a little bit about how both teams are currently working with HubSpot?
Yeah, so with both of our sales and marketing teams right now in Otis, I really want to ultimately keep track of the touch points that occur throughout the customer journey. And I really want to ensure that both the sales and the marketing teams are sharing important customer information with one another.
Gotcha. So some transparency between marketing teams. And have you noticed any challenges that have arisen due to that lack of shared information between teams?
Yes, absolutely. So I've noticed that there's been a lot of missed opportunities between the teams just because the sales and the marketing teams are not really sharing their customer information with one another and our managers.
Gotcha. That makes complete sense. I know it can be difficult when information isn't shared.
Mhm.
And what impact is that having when that information isn't shared and the data kind of isn't aligned?
Yeah, so with that, the not sharing of information, it really affects productivity in Otis, which is really essential for our company's production. And so really ultimately with a CRM system, I really want to know how Salesforce can really help achieve that goal and needing just ultimately tangible proof to do that.
Gotcha. Sounds great. I know transparency is a very big thing. So that sounds great. And if you could kind of see more of those insights that you were talking about in one place automatically between those teams, how would that change your team's day to day?
Yes, I definitely ultimately, with the sharing of information between the two teams, it would really increase productivity, like I've mentioned. And we here at Otis have made it a goal for ourselves of having around 200 or so marketing and sales employees. And we really want those employees to use some type of CRM software by 2026. We really made that a goal for ourselves.
Gotcha. So with those insights in one place, you're saying you could maybe scale the company to a little bit larger. Is that what you're interested in
Yes,
doing? Okay, gotcha.
yes,
So you're
absolutely.
saying 200 employees between those teams by 2026. That sounds
Mhm.
great. Abby also mentioned that you were concerned about the pricing of Salesforce. Do you think you could maybe share a little bit more information about your anticipated budget with that?
Yeah, so with our budget, currently, right now, we are partnered with HubSpot, and with them, we are paying a flat fee of $100,000 a year. And only my issue is that only 200 people can use HubSpot for this price. But we luckily are grateful to have a large budget surplus coming in. So we're really weighing our options on where to invest it, whether to be here or through another project.
Gotcha. Well, it's exciting that you have a budget surplus. I know it can definitely be a big decision to decide where to invest it, especially with such a large amount of money. So that is exciting. And I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about maybe how you could get a good return on investment between those projects. Does that sound kind of like what you're looking for? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha. And then I appreciate you sharing all this with me, but So I hear you're looking for scalability. You're looking for some transparency between your sales and marketing team so you can track that data easier. You're looking for increased productivity, and you're looking to, without scalability, maybe to 200 employees in 2026. Is there anything else that you're considering when you're thinking about switching CRM systems?
Yes, I forgot to mention that we as Otis are in the middle of a huge company restructuring of both like
Wow.
roles and positions. And so with this, I really need a good CRM software that's really easy to switch over to. And I'm really going to need help with that transition process.
Gotcha. Oh, totally understandable, especially if you're going through such a big change. I can imagine that you might want
Hmm.
a little bit of extra help. So
Yes,
you're looking
definitely.
for ease of transition. We're looking for shared information between teams, productivity,
Mhm.
increased productivity, scalability, and return on investment when deciding what to do with that budget surplus. Does that cover everything you're looking for? Is there anything else that I'm missing?
No, you hit everything perfectly. You've
Okay,
covered
great.
everything.
Awesome. So honestly, everything you just described is exactly what Salesforce Enterprise was built to solve. So I would love to show you what this would look like for Otis. Is it okay if I go ahead and talk to you about some features that might apply?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Great. Okay, so with ease of transition, I understand there's a lot of change going on with Otis, so we want to make sure that this transition is as easy for you as possible. With Salesforce Enterprise, you'd have a dedicated onboarding team with a success manager who would help handle setup, the migration and transition from HubSpot. And in addition, if you were to enter a 2-year contract, you would get 2 free on-site training sessions. So this would really help you with that transition, make it super easy, and have people who are dedicated to supporting you. Most Salesforce enterprise clients are fully up and running in under 90 days, even with teams that are much bigger than yours. So they would definitely be able to help you support with that. How is that sounding so far in terms of support? Would that kind of guided onboarding maybe help take some of the pressure off of your team?
Yes, absolutely. It definitely would.
Okay, awesome. Great. So once the system is in place, the next piece that we're looking for is that your teams are working together, not separately. We're wanting that transparency between the sales and marketing teams. So Enterprise connects both those teams through one shared system, so everyone would have access to the same data. So the marketing can see which of their campaigns are leading to converted sales, and sales can also see all their engagement history before a conversion even starts. So to be super helpful. Again, you're not repeating data input. And with this, companies that are using this integration have seen a 36% faster lead conversion and 25% higher revenue growth because the handoff between teams is seamless. So it increased those lead conversions, higher revenue, increased productivity. Do you think that both having both teams see the same customer data would help with that alignment that you mentioned earlier between the teams?
Yes, it definitely would.
Great. I'm so glad. Once your teams are aligned, we also want to make sure that they're being more productive. So this is where that Einstein AI and workflow automation would come in. So these are both AI automated products that Salesforce would automatically handle those repetitive tasks, such as follow-up emails, data entry, and activity logging. So your reps are spending more time actually selling instead of doing the little tedious things that take up a big portion of their day. And on average, Salesforce users save 2 to 3 hours per representative per day. So
Mm,
leadership can also measure those productivity directly in those real-time dashboards with the AI generated input. Does that kind of automation sound like it could help increase your team's productivity?
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
great. So now that we're saving 2 to 3 hours per representative per day, we can continue to grow towards that goal of having 200 employees using the site by 2026. So Salesforce Enterprise runs on what's called Hyperforce, and this is a globally secure cloud-based platform that's designed for enterprise level performance, so kind of what you're needing within your teams. It's very reliable, it's fast, and it can easily scale from as little as 10 users up to 10,000 users without any system changes or downtime. We guarantee 99.9% uptime. So you won't have to worry about if you do increase the size of your teams switching to a new platform or having a lot of downtime because we're designed with enterprises in mind. And I know cost is also always a part of the conversation. So I'd also like to talk about the return you'd get from that investment. Salesforce Enterprise includes return on investment dashboards that can track exactly how much your CRM activity is translating into revenue. So, how much the automation from AI and from your employees is immediately going into revenue. It can show your leadership team those tangible results from implementing our CRM. And Salesforce clients see an average of 341% return on investment over 3 years. This number is mainly driven by that automation, the amount you're saving in productivity and efficiency. Again, those higher conversion rates to sales and reduced technology overlap because you don't need to have as many add-ons in Salesforce. It's all coming in one price. So you can cut out those extra expenses. So essentially, the investment would pay for itself and more. Based on what we've talked about so far, how are you feeling that Salesforce could fit into your team at Otis?
Yeah, I definitely could see the value that Salesforce could bring. Ultimately, honestly, I'm even though we have the money here at Otis, it's still a big expense to invest in a good CRM system.
Okay, that's completely fair. I know even with that extra money, you want to make sure that you're putting it in the right place. When you say it feels like a big expense, is it more about the cost up front, the just base rate that you would be paying, or are you more so worried that you're going to get a good return on your investment?
Yeah, it's more about the upfront cost. I'm leaning more towards another CRM provider because they came in at $50,000 a year cheaper than your quote.
Okay, that totally makes sense. And I know that Salesforce isn't the cheapest platform, but it's the one that delivers the most long-term value. So ultimately, you're going to get the most bang for your buck. With our automation alone, like we talked about, your representatives would be saving 2 to 3 hours per day per representative. That would translate to roughly 50,000 hours a year that your employees are saving in time. And if you wanted to put that into monetary terms, that would equate to roughly 25 employees that you would have had to hire otherwise with those extra hours that you wouldn't have been saving. So I'm not sure what you're paying your employees. So I'm sure I could figure out the exact numbers, but I don't want to ask for that information. But with the roughly 25 employees that you would have hired to compensate for that time, that easily outweighs a $50,000 price difference. So totally understandable that you're worried about the cost, but ultimately you're saving more money than you would be with other CRMs. Would you be okay if maybe we planned a follow-up meeting so that I could walk you through how similar teams saw a return on their investment within the first 6 months of switching to Salesforce Enterprise?
Yes, I would love to set up a follow-up meeting, but I do have just one last concern is that my employees are not going to be happy with the switch. That's my main concern with moving forward in this process.
Okay. Well, it's amazing that you're caring about your employees, and I know there's going to be some pushback anytime there's a big change. Are your employees more worried about losing progress or just having to learn a new platform in general?
Yeah, my employees aren't really happy with the idea of switching platforms just because our highest performing sales representatives really do love HubSpot and really resistant to that change.
Gotcha. Again, totally understandable. I know those high performers are honestly usually the first to love Salesforce because they realize how much time it saves them. Even though it can be intimidating at first, they're ultimately the ones who are first to adopt it. So the nice thing about Salesforce is that we have customizable dashboards that, again, can customize your sales representatives to look and feel familiar, maybe even similar to their HubSpot layout. So it doesn't feel like they're starting over. They're still looking at their own organization, and they also have the ability to edit it if their original one with HubSpot wasn't what they were looking for. Also, if they're nervous about switching and just having to learn a new platform over again, enterprise clients also stay on Salesforce for over 10 years on average. So once they make that change, they would not have to switch again for a very long time. Would it help to maybe set up that meeting with the sales and marketing teams next week so that we could see how Salesforce would work for them and see how they're feeling about that change?
Yes, let's definitely set up that meeting just to meet with both teams, just to get a better understanding of where their head's at.
Okay, great. So I would love to work with your assistant to schedule a meeting next week with the sales and marketing teams. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. Have a great
Of
rest
course.
of your day, Robin.
Of course. Thank you again, Anna.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye.